team think? Something just went down in Los Angeles that the media will never tell you straight. ICE didn't just show up. They locked the city down, and runners got caught. A Tesla parent grabbed during a school drop-off, and families booking one-way tickets out of the country to avoid that knock on the door. But let's start here.
I will just say Republicans right now are trying to recruit and give bonuses to people who want to serve in ICE. And Democrats right now and people on the left are encouraging violence against people who want to serve in ICE.
They are?
And are putting them in harm's way every day.
How
so
exactly?
The two parties and how they're treating ICE agents right now, I think Republicans embracing recruitment of ICE and Democrats encouraging maybe violence.
So we're just going to make a declarative statement like that without providing a single shred of evidence.
You have not seen the myriad stories of ICE agents.
Okay,
Democrats every day are calling them the Gestapo. Do you think that helps or hurts?
Well, they do act like Gestapo when they're showing up.
Now you're doing it.
Well, they are. They're just showing up.
I assume you condone the violence.
In Penske trucks.
Do you condone the violence?
Home Depot. Listen, I don't want my tax dollars going to that garbage, okay? Those people do not deserve to be treated that way simply because they might be undocumented.
Do the ICE agents deserve to be having violent acts committed, rocks thrown at them?
No, they don't. They don't.
Kill
and
them?
Those people who do that get arrested, and they should be arrested.
And why don't they don't get arrested? Because they've been told the ICE agents are Gestapo.
Have you considered the fact that in a city like Los Angeles that has a massive immigrant community, when they see their mothers or fathers or family members rounded up, that leads to a lot of rage, and they retaliate. I'm not saying they should. That is criminal. They should not assault a police officer. Let me just tell you something. Someone messes with my family, I get violent. Okay, that's how I feel about family.
Good to know.
I protect family. So don't be surprised when people feel angry when they feel that there's a bunch of feds in their city invading their city, going after people who are just day laborers in a Home Depot parking lot.
That's dangerous talk.
It leads to unrest. It leads to a ton of
unrest. No, it's more than that.
No,
they are physically attacking.
And by the way,
there's an 800% increase in attacks on ICE agents.
Man, it's a total meltdown right there, man. This is the problem. The left claims they're about compassion and dialogue, but when it comes to ICE, they normalize hate and then act surprised when officers get ambushed. They say nobody's encouraging the violence, but they demonize these agents to the point where it becomes open seasons on law enforcement. Tell me I'm lying. And shout out to Scott, man, because his demeanor, whew. And I tell you what's really going on. If they can make the public believe ICE agents are the villain, they can turn every enforcement action into a political scandal. It's not about protecting the people with them. It's about protecting their voter base. I can't even say that. Voter base. No matter what the cost to law and order is. That's them. Now, while CNN is busy defending rage, the people actually doing the job aren't apologizing for protecting this country.
I just want to ask you for three things today. Number one, I want to ask you to support your law enforcement officers. Have their backs. Every single individual that's out there that is noisy and attacking them right now is having an effect that's ratcheting up the rhetoric and distorting facts and not allowing the facts to get out of what the work that they're doing every day and what we've done to help victims get some justice for the harms that were perpetuated in their lives. Those of us that appreciate the work of our law enforcement officers, the fact that we're a country that doesn't pick winners and losers. We apply the law, and if we don't like the law, we should be going to Congress to change it. But that is what these law enforcement officers do, is they continue to uphold the law and make sure it applies equally to everybody. Second thing I'd like to ask you to do is stop putting criminals first. Stop making them the number one priority.
Yes.
They are perpetuating harm on American citizens, and they need to be held accountable for it. And number three, I would ask that you think about the family members around you, the people you've spent your time with, the American citizens that live next door to you in your community. Start thinking about what kind of a community they want to live in, what your city should look like, what their families deserve, and put them first. Make them the priority because they're the ones who invested in this country, and keep it safe and keep it productive and keep it the best country in the world. We'll never apologize here for protecting the American people, but we're going to continue to arrest dangerous, criminal, illegal aliens. We will defend the homeland. That's what ICE is doing, and I'm so proud to be able to walk with them and to lead with them while they fulfill this mission to really keep United States blessed far into the future. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions that you may have. Yes.
Yeah, it's simple. You either believe in equal enforcement of the law or you don't. Now, the media loves to paint ICE as these rogue operators, but Kristi's saying what most Americans already know. We can't have two sets of rules. If you commit crimes here, you face consequences. You know, that's what it leads to, right? Citizen or not. And yet, the same politicians crying racism are the ones making backroom deals to shield criminals from deportation. They're not protecting the community. They quite literally are protecting the chaos here. And if you want to see the chaos they're defending, take a look at what's been happening out there in LA.
Do you have a picture of him somewhere? Are we just profiling the person?
Are we just kidnapping him? It's like, oh, you look Mexican? I'm Mexican too. What's up? How do you guys know I'm born here? This is insane.
At the end of spring in Los Angeles, what we saw is steeped up immigration enforcement, unlike we had ever seen in the city or in the county prior. And there was a number of very aggressive tactics that took a lot of people, including immigration and civil rights lawyers, by surprise.
One of the main tactics we were seeing a lot coming up were roving patrols. Those have been done historically along the border, involves agents who are in a car or on foot. They're trying to deter illegal activity is what they say. But really what we have found is that it involves driving around here in LA specifically, like predominantly Latino neighborhoods, looking for people that they're spotting on site. One of the cases we saw specifically was them pulling into a tow yard in Montebello, cut across the street, pull into this tow yard and immediately start asking questions. And that is a case that we have seen repeatedly coming up again and again. And a lot of these roving patrols then turn into another tactic, which is known as a consensual encounter.
Look how you got my hand. You're twisting that shit. I'm American, bro.
Yo, these guys are literally...
And a lot of attorneys question whether these consensual encounters are actually consensual. What we saw in the case of the tow yard with Brian Gaviria, he was a U.S. citizen, and there was others there who got asked their names.
Up a skin color.
He's not A, bro. I just fucking show you. I got a real ID with.
My homie was born here just because of the way he looks.
Lawyers say that when people are approached, they ask, are you American? Where were you born? But there's also come with guns, they come masked, and oftentimes the question is, are these people really free to leave as they're supposed to be able to?
Consensual encounter is done in such a way where it's so conversational, almost it's like, hey, can I ask you a question? And it's just agents approaching people. And sometimes people not knowing how to respond or what to do, especially if you have the pressure of a bunch of agents who are armed surrounding you. People are answering, no, I'm not here legally, or no, I'm not an American. And then that really is what we've seen that triggers the arrest.
And that leads rise to another tactic that we've seen a lot. It says, if they run, we will chase.
Agents are using people running away from them as reasonable suspicion to then stop them. And even American citizens have run from agents. People who have legal status to be here have run. Almost
Why?
It's instinctual for some people because, as a federal judge said here in LA, if armed, masked men who are unidentified are running at you, it makes sense that people would then run away from them. There's surveillance footage we saw of a roving patrol that was happening in Pico Rivera, and there was a custodial worker, he was pushing a trash can in the parking lot. Border Patrol truck comes barreling toward him because to them, they were like, okay, he's running from us, that must mean he's in the country illegally. We were hearing cases where agents were like laughing at people who had run and been like, oh, we never would have got them if they had never run.
And part and parcel to these roving patrols, part and parcel to these consensual encounters are where they're stopping individuals. They often stop them at Home Depots or at car washes.
Home Depot.
There's been at least 58 car washes in the Los Angeles and Orange County that have been hit, some of them multiple times. And often they use these locations because they presume the individuals there aren't going to be documented individuals. A federal judge in Los Angeles found that is one of 3 other factors that cannot be used to determine reasonable suspicion to detain a person.
One big thing I would note is what we saw repeatedly in a lot of these videos that have gone viral. A lot of them do involve Border Patrol agents who don't historically work in the interior. They are more used to working on the border. They were in and out. 2 minutes, they go, they immediately make a beeline to the certain workers. We were finding in some cases, especially people who were brown-skinned, felt specifically targeted. It's a consensual encounter that comes off of a roving patrol. They say, what's your legal status? Are you a citizen? Where were you born? And then, they'll arrest people within a 2-minute span and clear out.
I mean, here's the truth nobody on the left will admit. You don't run if you got nothing to hide, okay? Supreme Court precedent says unprovoked fights or, unprovoked flight in high crime areas is reasonable suspicion. These agents are trained to spot invasion. And in LA, it's happening everywhere. The LA Times want to make it about skin color. And we've already disproven that in previous videos. ICE is looking at behavior. But racial profiling is more of a powerful headline for them. That's easy to run with. They ignore the facts. Let's not pretend. If someone boats at the sight of police, 9 times out of 10, there's a reason. 9 times out of 10. But LA is not just seeing street chases. ICE is making arrests in places the media swore they would never touch.
Video shows immigration enforcement agents in bulletproof vests getting out of unmarked cars with flashing police lights near Camarena Elementary in Chula Vista.
I'm surprised that they didn't chose to do it at that time in that area.
It was around 8 a.m. on Wednesday. The cars on the road filled with kids waiting to get dropped off at school.
Yeah, it was just surprising. I was like, wow, it's happening right here.
Ashley Sina says she saw ICE agents pull over and detain the driver of a white Tesla.
I saw them pull out a lady from her car, and she was in handcuffs, and they just brought her over to the SUV.
Sina says there was a little boy and girl in the car talking to agents. Chula Vista Elementary School District confirmed the children are students at Camarena Elementary. The district says it's providing resources and support for the children, but could not confirm their location.
You don't think that something like that would happen, like on the way to school, in front of the school? I mean, this is a very nice neighborhood.
The superintendent sent out this letter to families in the district, emphasizing this incident happened outside school property. The letter reads there are protocols in place that limit law enforcement from accessing school campuses. It says officials are only permitted to interact with students if there's an immediate threat to campus safety.
I know they've been around. People, posted on the Ring app that ICE is, at the Target or the Walmart. And so, I mean, they're just doing their job.
Federal law currently allows immigration enforcement near schools, churches, and hospitals, but agents are required to provide a warrant in certain private areas of campuses. Perla Shaheen, ABC 10 News.
Now, something like that would happen, like on the way to school, in front of the school.
A South Bay parent.
This is where the left's narrative collapses. They say, they said ICE wouldn't operate or won't act near schools, but they can, and they do when the law allows it. This isn't random. These are targeted operations against people they flagged. But you sit here and watch how quickly this gets spun into ISIS terrorizing families. Nah, man. The decision to live here legally day after day is what puts families in these situations. And people screaming inhumane never once put the blame where it actually belongs. And for some, that fear of ICE leading to resistance is leading to an exit strategy.
He crossed the border to give his son a better life. Enrique told me back in January, I'm scared they will separate me from my son because I spent my life with him. Enrique self-deported this month. He booked a flight to Peru instead of facing the possibility of being detained by ICE.
Do you find that happening more?
Yes, because it's a combination. People don't know what the law is right now, and they're very scared of being detained at an ICE check-in, at the supermarket, at the gym.
On the federal government's website, there's a self-deportation fact sheet. It states if you don't self-deport, it's not a matter of if ICE finds you, it's a matter of when. There are no stats or records tracking how many non-citizens are choosing to self-deport, but Cardenas says it's happening across the tri-state and across the country.
They don't want to be put into detention, and they don't want to be shipped out to a country that's not theirs. They don't want to be in that predicament.
He crossed the border to give his son a better life. Enrique told me back in January, I'm scared.
Now, this is the part the media tiptoes around. Self-deportation isn't a failure of the system, It is a system that's working. When a risk of detention becomes real, people make choices, and yet you see this framed as a tragedy caused by enforcement instead of a consequence of breaking a law in the first place. Enrique didn't wake up one morning and suddenly get targeted. This was a long chain of decisions, and ICE's presence forced the choice. The left wants to erase that because, the cause and effect. They want to erase the cause and effect because it ruins the victim narrative. I mean, so here you have it. You got CNN defending rage, Kristi Noem defending law, runners sprinting through L.A., arrested school drop-offs, and families buying one-way tickets out. Keep saying, man, this is not about cruelty. This is about a country defending whether the law means anything, okay? And if you're still wondering why ICE is locking down cities, it's because the alternative is lawlessness. Same thing. We're not buying the spin. We break it. Real quick, make sure y'all follow me on these platforms up here. I got to get up out of here real quick. I'm like 4 minutes past the time I was supposed to walk out the door, and the family is waiting on me. So shout out to all y'all. Shout out to the 4X Club. I really appreciate y'all, but be safe. Please go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.